At this Christmas, we can see the starry side of things. Oh, we can see the baby lying in the manger. We can see the happy side of things. But don't ever forget, it took the scars of Jesus to get you beyond the stars and to get you into heaven. It took the suffering of Jesus to get you there. He came to accomplish. He came to aid. And thirdly and lastly, He came to ascend. In other words, He did. He came to die, but honey, He didn't plan on staying that way. He didn't plan on staying dead. That's the thing. He came to rise again. He came to get up out of that grave, and He came to take us with Him one day. That baby, that child, that son, that Savior, that true living God will one day lift His hands in heaven. And when He lifts them up, the scars, they'll be visible. They'll still be there, and they'll be an ever reminder to you and me of the victory that we had at Calvary in Him. Just think about it for a minute. The same little hands that Mary held. Can you imagine? Would one day grow up. Jesus didn't wrestle upon the cross. He didn't try to get away. He willingly laid His life down. You say, why, preacher? Because He knew He'd lift it back up. Death had no hold on Him. The grave had no hold. Aren't you glad for that? But did you know today that many are living in this Christmas season? I believe this. But many today they're living in defeat. I'm aware that this is not a happy time for a lot of people. I am. I've been preacher to people's homes, and just the simplest of things that you can take them, you can bring them. You don't have to take them a thing, just you being there, spending a little time with them. Just the simplest of things. Lift them up. Don't forget that this Christmas season. Don't forget it. That not everybody is going to have people coming in. Not everybody. There's a little lady that lived across the street from us growing up. Her name was Miss Howell. Miss Howell was very, very, very wealthy. But Miss Howell had no one. And every Christmas, Daddy'd go over there and he'd get Miss Howell. Her husband had passed. It was just her. Her family did not celebrate with her. And she'd come over every Christmas when we would have a gathering. Here would come Miss Howell. We still got the pictures. We still got the memories. And do you know that that little lady became a fixture to our family? There was one day, Miss Howell was running a little late. It didn't feel like Christmas that morning without her there. Open up your heart. Open up your doors. Invite someone in. It's not a happy time for a lot of people. It's truly not. Would you believe me if I told you that Christmas has the ability to open up scars and to open up wounds that you may have that are desperately trying to heal? You think about it. I know with my wife, she struggles with the loss of her mother. We all do. We miss Terry. And I see Terry a lot in her. And she'll do pretty good till Easter, till Mother's Day, till Christmas. Why, preacher? When you go to dress the table, there's where she sat. When you go to buy gifts, when you go to put a card in the mail, the littlest of things, the phone staying silent, the warm embrace, the company, the conversation's gone. And looking back on those memories, I know the other day we found some old VHS tapes. We found some things, we popped them in, we watched them, those memories. A bittersweet Christmas. But I want to leave you with this. I love what Adrian Rogers said. Like I said, he's my favorite preacher. And I think that man has helped me more growing up listening to him than anybody I've ever heard. And he said this. He said, I want to share something with you. He's told his congregation. He said, a scar is a wound that healed. Now you know this. That's not a surprise to you. But let it sink in for a minute. A scar, number one, is a wound that healed. Secondly, it is a wound that did not kill you. The scar is still there, the memory of it, but it's desperately trying to heal through the pain. And thirdly, and lastly, and most importantly, a scar is a wound that others can see. Do we need to flip back in our Bibles here just for a moment? Do we need to go talk to Thomas? Why is that important, preacher? I want to encourage you this morning. You may be wearing scars this Christmas, but they had purpose. Jesus knows about the bitter cup, whatever it is that you've been drinking out of. He knows your wounds and how you sustain them. And bless your heart, when you wear a scar and somebody else sees it, they look at you and say, well, God, if He can heal that, if He can heal them, and they know how you got that wound and they know how you got that scar, and He said, if He can heal them and if He can help them, then He can help me.